Emmanuel, God with us, is a word we use in Advent and almost no time else. With is personally my favorite preposition, one with which I've been a little bit obsessed. It is a joining word, one filled with the potential to recreate and reproduce, to bring about new life for a new life together. With offers many miracles and seems to be, to me, aligned with God's character. To be with seems to be the most important and consistent gesture that God makes. God's empathy and compassion move God in waves of covenant. Distance or defect seem inconsequential on God's end. Connecting matters more with God than the miraculous or winning victory, even when the stakes are high, even the size of God's own life. When God's people write what happens after the events of God's arrival, it's always very different from how they hoped and expected things to be. The God we wish for and the God we get, how aligned are they, really? The stories of Jesus have him hungry and thirsty, dependent upon the kindness of people sharing with him and sharing with each other. Words of praise, he shushes them, and generally refused titles of honor. Is the lowliness only a farce, only valuable if it is totally reversible? God's presence is not in the people's expectations, nor is God in their disappointments. God is with. That with, the presence, seems more important to God than any other need met, no matter how deep. Not even eternal salvation, which, what could that possibly mean except God with us? What could it mean except the connection which God seeks? Could some transactional get-out-of-jail-free card make God's death any cheaper? By believing Jesus, have we believed a God coming from above, with great power, with hopes for hell and fury to eradicate our foes? Or have we said that God comes to us, arising, as always, from behind, and rather than filled with fiery intent, is seeking barely more than survival? Not a war God on our side, but a weak God on the inside of history, born again and again. Will God make it this time, being so weak and so small? Perhaps not. Not, at least while alone. Except with a community that navigates and notices in the present, not hiding from and fearing what it perceives. Making it through all of this life is a challenge, especially for God. God is with us, depending upon the energy, intelligence, imagination, and love of all the rest of us who hunger and thirst and share with God and with us. God is with, and that is the gift, all finished and incomplete. When have your expectations of God been met with disappointment? And when have you been met with a God surprise? And when have we found ourselves without a sense of God being present at all, and that God that we expected or needed, we could not even perceive? Or perhaps when did God call to you, and you did hear it? You heard it from someplace beyond, from outside where you expected.